Well, I wanted to bring you an article today that I thought was quite interesting and kind of spells out exactly where we are in this peace process. And if you've been following the peace process, and you know that Mr. Abbas, Palestinian leader, has been visiting in the European Union, not only trying to gain support, financial support that is, but also support for the state of Palestine and to get momentum going in the direction of the European Union recognizing East Jerusalem as the Palestinian capital. And as the United States looks on as the principal peace negotiator, out loud, Mr. Abbas has declared the United States null and void as a peacekeeper. But behind closed doors, everybody, not only in the European Union and also in the West Bank, in the United States, but around the world, knows that this peace process can't go forward unless the United States is front and center. And here's the article that I wanted to bring you. The title of it is Rebuffing Abbas Gamut. U.S. says Europe knows it can't be lead peace broker. And this article, coming out of the Times of Israel, states that even though everyone sees what's going on, they know the truth. And the truth is the United States will have to be front and center on this peace process, or it won't work and it won't go through. And I'm going to read a little bit from the article. It says the European countries do not think they can replace the United States as the main broker of Israeli-Palestinian peace talks, a senior White House official said Tuesday, pouring cold water on efforts by Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas to court the EU as a replacement for the U.S. And quoting, it says, there isn't a single European country or other country we've spoken to since the December 6th announcement that in any way, shape, or form believes a U.S.-led process could be replaced, a White House official told reporters during a briefing Tuesday. They all want to work with the U.S. despite the Palestinian reaction. Now, again, I have to repeat that the Bible does indicate that the country or block of countries in which the Antichrist will rise is believed to be coming out of the European Union. And that's found in Daniel 9:25 through 27. But going on reading the article, it says, since Trump's Jerusalem decision last month, the Palestinian leadership has refused to meet with U.S. officials on peace talks and has repeatedly said the U.S. can no longer be an honest mediator in the conflict. Of course, he's saying that out loud, but behind closed doors, I think that he knows what the truth is. The United States is by far the greatest donor contributor to the Palestinian state. And the continued financial health of the Palestinian state relies upon those donations to continue to come in. Yes, there may be some money that will be made up by some of the European Union countries, but I have to believe that this some $600 million that they receive from donations from the U.S. won't be able to be matched in the long run. So it's going to be interesting to see where the European Union fits into this peace process, and I think they will. We just haven't seen the results of it yet. Now, while U.S. Vice President Mike Pence was in Israel this week, Abbas, president of the Palestinian Authority, snubbed him and instead flew to Brussels trying to woo the European Union to take from Washington its mantle of main sponsor of the peace process. Now, on Monday, European Union Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini said Brussels was ready to take a central role alongside the United States, expanding the international role in mediating between Israel and the Palestinians. The U.S. official who spoke on condition of anonymity as Pence wrapped up his two-day visit to Israel suggested the Palestinians are disingenuous in their rhetoric of seeking another international actor to take the U.S.'s place, while admitting that the current impasse could be called a huge bump. I don't think anybody believes the U.S. can be replaced in this process, the official said. Frankly, I don't believe the Palestinians believe the U.S. can be replaced in this process. The position echoed the stance of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has said the Palestinians don't want peace if they refuse to work with the U.S. And the one problem with this process, this right here, is if in fact the Palestinians are successful in having the European Union broker peace talks, Israel's not coming to the table under the European Union leadership. All they'll do is they'll just say, no, we won't do it, and the U.S. will back them up. So it's going to be a question mark on how this is going to go forward without the United States being in some way in agreement with whatever the European Union is going to bring to the table. Frankly, what I think is going to happen is I think the European Union is going to come in and they may agree to co-sponsor U.S. President Donald Trump's plan and go along with it and in some way take part of the credit. Of course, that's speculation on my part. Like I said, the Bible does say that the European Union would be, or the Antichrist would come out of that block of nations, and that he would be the one who would bring this peace with many. But as far as I'm concerned, I have never believed that the peace process with the United States leading it or playing a major role in it was dead. We're just got to wait and see how it plays out, where the European Union and the U.S. somehow share it, or somehow the EU plays a significant role in this peace process. But here's something you might want to hear as well. It says the Palestinian boycott has come as the U.S. is trying to finalize the peace process, which the officials said would include a regional element that could extend across the region, including Saudi Arabia. But the officials said the plans had been somewhat derailed by the Palestinians' refusal to meet with them, as well as the complexity of involving other regional actors. And like I said in earlier videos, that I think that right now some of the major partners in the Arab League, such as Saudi Arabia and Egypt, are keeping a low profile right at this point. But I think at some point in time they're going to tell the Palestinians that, listen, either get on board with this or we're going forward without you, and you can figure things out yourself. Because really their only concern is keeping Iran at bay, and Iran is trying to stamp out a major footprint in their region, and because of that they're trying to make a regional pact with Israel and many. Now, right now, the officials are saying that they're not putting out any, when I say officials, I mean U.S. officials are saying they're not putting out any plan at this time because of the bump in the road that was created by the Palestinians, but at some point in time, they will unveil a plan that will be beneficial not only to Israelis, but to Palestinians. And, speaking on that note, I have to believe that at some point in time, that when this plan is finally unveiled, that it's going to be fairly lucrative to both parties to make this step forward. And now that same official who's been speaking, it says that while the Palestinian leadership has closed off communications with the White House, there are Palestinians who are in touch with them and want to work with them. There's a difference between the Palestinian leadership and the Palestinians, he said. One of the tragic things that I have noticed since it's December 6th is there are so many Palestinians who are reaching out. They all want to continue to talk, but they're all afraid to talk. So they're asking for quiet meetings, private meetings. They're under a lot of pressure not to talk. It doesn't bode well for what we're trying to create if there's no freedom of speech among the Palestinians. So that troubles me greatly. And we're trying to figure out how to deal with it. And the official also stated that they were frustrated with the fact that the Palestinians, or the leadership, had misinterpreted what President Trump's position was in naming Jerusalem Israel's capital, and also that they would be moving the embassy there. The Palestinians are taking parts of the president's speech, ignoring the rest of the speech, and using the parts that they don't like for their own political purposes, and completely not referring to the parts of the president's speech that speak to those issues, the official said. So there you have it. We know that the United States is not out of the peace process yet. It looks like it's going to take more of a representative side than a central figure such as the United States. And what I mean by that is that you're probably looking at the United States sitting down with the European Union, where the U.S. will represent Israel's side, and they will work with the European Union, who will be representing the Palestinian side, in order to bring the two sides back to the table and bring about this European/U.S. peace process that will ultimately, I believe, end with the creation of a Palestinian state, and also the Arab League coming together with Israel and to attempt to try to thwart the ambitions of Iran. But the first step that I think we should be looking at is what is going to come out of the meeting, the special meeting that the European Union is going to have come January the 31st, which is relatively, I guess, 1 week away. And, we'll keep our eyes on that. But, one of the reasons why I continue to follow this particular event so closely is because the Bible says that this peace with many that will include Israel and the Antichrist is paramount to the start of the tribulation period. There's a lot of things out there that are being spouted in the world of Bible prophecy. Most of it is simply sensationalism gone wild. Some of it is simply not even true. But one thing we do know is true is what is written in the Bible. The Bible says that the peace with many that will come, that will happen during the last generation when Israel becomes a nation again, will be the peace that will start day one of the tribulation period. Forget all the other crazy talk. This is the most pertinent thing as far as the last days is concerned. And if you continue to follow this, you're going to be closer than anyone else to seeing that day come forth. And that day meaning the rapture of the church. The Bible's clear that we're not going to know the day nor the hour when the rapture does take place. But we can know the season. And, I believe that we're staring into the face of some of the telltale signs of the tribulation period that will take place just after the rapture of the church happens. So if you're looking to stay close to when the day of the Lord, the rapture of the church, is going to take place, keep your eye on what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on in Israel, and keep your eye on this peace process. And certainly if you don't know the Lord, today is the day of salvation. Don't put it off. Tomorrow you may die. And if you do, where will you spend an eternity? I would encourage you today to make that decision for Christ. And you Christians, you need a copy of my Tribulation Period Survival Guide. Don't let the world tell your friends and lost loved ones who may end up going through the tribulation period how they need to react to what will take place in the future. Go down to the description section of this video and you will find a link that will take you to either get the free digital version, which is written in 9 different languages, or you can get the paperback version that you can physically hand to your friend and lost loved one. So I would encourage you to make that move and do it today. Well, this is Terry Malone with the Calvary Prophecy Report.